Aquarius, it's October 2025, and I think this month is going to be quite busy for you. We've got an important transit here in the third house, while Mercury and Sun transit the ninth house. And when I say busy, these sectors relate to travels, short journeys, excursions, outings. The third house, which is where we see the transit of retrograde Neptune right now, but more importantly this month, the full moon here indicate a lot of activity, a lot of movement, because Mars is the sign of the zodiac dominating your third house of short journeys. Now, when I say journeys too, by the way, Aquarius, because you're an air sign, you are very intellectually prone, very opinionated, and interested in ideas. So when we talk about excursions, these could actually be mental excursions. Ninth house, of course, has to do with learning, and Mercury on the 7th shifts gear and moves into the sign of Scorpio to make contact with Mars. Now, I mentioned last month Mars's transit into this 10th house is also a potent force for professional good. Mars has what we call directional strength in this upper part of the horoscope. It lends dynamic energy, physical and mental, more so when we see the combined influence of Mercury, the intellectual planet, moving into conjunction. Now, that also has a downside, I might add. Let me have a sip of water. Stay tuned. The downside is the planets Mercury and Mars are not particularly well adapted to each other, so they can cause some problems. You may have some difficulties with your employer at this time. That full moon there shows your need to communicate, but with Neptune there, that could be a little bit wishy-washy. That can get you into trouble when Mercury and Mars are moving into a conjunction. The 13th and 14th are good days to approach your boss, because you've got the conjunction of the moon and Jupiter in the 6th house of work. Bit of a problem still, because you still can't get away from that square to the sun, which is the natural ruler of authority. I'd be saying generally wait for Mercury to exit that conjunction with Mars. You can see that up until 16 degrees it's going to be a little potent and a little bit narky. A bit of a sketchy conjunction in the 10th house. However, you can use this as long as you're not too reactive to achieve some traction there in your work. The new moon, I think, is going to be the time where you will see this coincidentally moving away from Mars. New moon in your 9th house. The new moon in your 9th house is interesting because, as well as the 9th house being a zone of learning and travels, as I mentioned, this could be the long distance travels. You might come up with a new idea to travel at this time, because the new moon is, new chapter. 9th house is travels. But the 9th house is also the zodiac sign behind the 10th, or the career. So what's happening here could be also a movement away from the work that you've done traditionally. There's the new moon straight into your career sector. That's why I'm suggesting that. So the 9th house undoes the 10th house. It unravels what has been going on there. And there's the lunar energy on the 23rd making connection with Mars. Mercury has moved away. Sun moves also into that 10th house for a moment. 24th, 25th of October are good dates, if they're not a weekend, because I haven't got my calendar in front of me, but they are good dates to approach your boss. And the Sun there is also an excellent placement if you're looking for new work, you're looking for a promotion, you want to approach any authority figures, not just in your work, but in government-related situations, and that is a very, very good time. And this is a very, very successful period. Be careful, because the planet of energy is going to be combust later in the solar cycle here. That'll be more for I think November, but don't work yourself into the ground is what I'm saying. That's likely to, because you've had Jupiter here, expansive as it is, asking you to turn up everything louder than everything else in terms of your efforts for work. You'll notice there the Neptune retrograde transit back out of that third house, so this is also the time to do those journeys. Venus is nicely placed in the ninth. That new moon means, I think, for some of you, planning some sort of holiday or excursion or retreat, which I think would be ideal at this point in time. So the last transit there is the one of Mercury moving out of that career sector, where you would have had some communications, as I mentioned. Then it shifts to the 11th house, which is very social in nature. If you want to find out more, follow those links to my site, astrology.com.au. We've got lots more information there for you. Please do subscribe. It helps me, helps the channel. It's just a modest channel, but it helps me. If you've got any serious questions, I'm always open to a little chit chat. And I'll be back next month as usual. Hope you'll join me. Till then, take care. Bye-bye now.